what you gonna do, brother?
Oh, yeah!
Woo! What? What?
If you smell what the rock...
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Welcome to another edition of Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the Big Alboski. That guy right there is Professor Keith. We're here live. It's Sunday night at 7 o'clock special time, but we got lots to talk about, and our guest has not arrived at this time, Keith, but as always, we have plenty to talk about. So first and foremost, I want to offer officially, because last week we lost Daphne Shannon Sproul. Unfortunately took her life, and it kind of rocked the foundations of many fans. All her fans and family and friends obviously were affected, of course. Anybody that was a fan of WCW back in the day, she was on WCW, she was on TNA later on. Tremendous career, and then it kind of ended in 2015 when she had the last of her concussions. She suffered multiple concussions over her career, and also suffered from CTE in the end, which is, in case you don't know, is a post-concussion syndrome common with NFL players. Like NFL players, it happens a lot, and that's one of the reasons why the NFL has the concussion protocols that they have. And of course, I'm going to flash on the bottom of the screen there the suicide prevention hotline, which is 800-273-8225. If you or yourself, you or any of your loved ones that you think are in that, in that state of mind, maybe there's signs to see. There's when somebody's just depressed or sad, they have Facebook posts, they have, something like that. You can see the warning signs. The help is there. To call that number, and if you yourself think you need help and there's nobody to talk to, they have live people. I know for a fact, people who have called that number, they have live people immediately that'll either call you back or text you directly to have a conversation and to maybe get the help that you need. So if you or anybody or your else that you love is suffering from depression or anxiety and you need to call that number, it is right down there on the screen, and I will leave it, and I will let Keith talk now because I've done talked enough.
Yeah, obviously this is a horrible situation. There probably hasn't been a day that's gone by in the past couple weeks that this hasn't entered my mind to some degree. Thankfully, I've never been directly affected by suicide, but I certainly have a lot of friends that have. The suicide of a loved one. And if you're having those thoughts right now and you're watching, I want you to know somebody cares. Somebody cares about you. Somebody loves you. And if you're having those thoughts seriously, please get in touch with someone, because I guarantee you're going to hurt somebody. Somebody is going to be devastated.
More than one, most likely.
And they're going to carry that for the rest of their life. It is going to affect everything they do. It is going to affect everything they believe. Please, there are resources, even beyond the suicide prevention hotline. If you are an entertainer, if you are a professional wrestler, there are resources out there that are geared specifically to you and to what you're feeling. And I apologize that I don't have those ready to hand.
But you did mention that WWE has now instituted a mental health protocol in cases.
Yes, it is under the wellness policy. If you are a former WWE performer, they are offering you counseling. Just like they do if you need help with drug or alcohol abuse. They have that available. And I call upon every other corporately funded wrestling promotion I call upon Impact. I call upon Ring of Honor. I especially call upon AEW. You have now become an industry leader. Therefore, you have a responsibility as an industry leader to take care of your talent and any talent you might put under contract.
Well said.
Please institute these policies. There is absolutely no reason why you cannot. I echo Mike Johnson of PW Insider, who eloquently wrote about this 2 weeks ago, immediately in the wake of Miss Sproul's suicide. You have no excuse. You have the money. You have a massive corporate backer. I understand the companies that are small, that are hand to mouth, or maybe they're not hand to mouth, but it's just like, Keith, I can't do that. We're not fine. I get it. But if you've got a massive corporate parent behind you that owns other properties, that owns television networks, in the case of Ring of Honor, in the case of Impact, Anthem has Fight TV and all kinds of others, you don't have an excuse. You have the money. Do it. Take care of your talent.
All right, Keith, well said. And I'm going to leave that suicide prevention hotline on the entire show in honor of not only Daphne Shannon Sproul, but also the fact that September is Suicide Prevention Month. For those of you just tuning in, and I saw the numbers jump over the last 2 minutes while Keith was talking, and are waiting for Spitfire Marcus Jonston. He will be with us momentarily. He is having internet difficulties on his end. So meanwhile, speaking of AEW, Keith, what a week last week AEW had.
You know, I'm so happy AEW did us a favor and we were off last week and they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to change the scope of wrestling. They didn't do anything to become the hottest promotion on earth. I'm so glad they didn't do that. In all seriousness, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
I have said a lot of bad things about AEW on this show.
You have.
I am now going to issue a mea culpa on that. I watched the All Out pay-per-view. I was thoroughly entertained. I'm sticking by the stuff I said about the Young Bucks. I'm sticking by the stuff I said about Kenny Omega. The Elite are not driving this car. They are never going to be able to drive this car. They are a poor man's NWO. And I think the sooner that you de-emphasize these guys and make them more bit players for the niche audience that, you know, again, admittedly and respectfully, did build the promotion and did get it there initially.
Yeah.
But they need to be off to a side. They need to figure out their own thing to do. They're not going to drive the car.
I mean, Omega's not going to ever completely not be in the main event picture.
No, I'm not saying take these guys and completely put them in a corner and make them worthless. I know they have value.
Right.
But the world title's got to come off Omega and not go back on.
But they've been building to that.
The tag titles don't need to be on the Young Bucks ever again, because to me, these guys cannot drive the car, and worse, they are selfish and they destroy acts that could.
See, I think it would be a mistake, just speaking on Omega for a minute, to take the title off of him with, like, say, Bryan Danielson. Say Bryan Danielson comes in and takes the title off of him, because they've been building so long for Paige to have that showdown, and it's going to come to fruition at some point. And I think he should be the guy that takes it off of him. But I think,
but at the same token, too, you've also now, you know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have said to you, yes, because even with CM Punk coming in, I'd be like, you don't want to do a TNA. You don't want CM Punk to come in, win the title 3 weeks from now and be the guy, because then it's TNA, right? We brought in the former WWE guy and we gave him everything, and it says that we're second tier, that we're chasing the WWE. But Adam Cole isn't that guy to me.
Right.
Adam Cole's got to be a strong contender to be able to say, you know, maybe we upset our long-term plans for Adam Cole. I don't think you do it with I agree. You don't do it with Danielson.
But you're gonna have a good match. Either way.
Yeah, I want them in
I
the
want
ring.
to see that match.
I want Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson more than anything. Like, I want Adam Cole deprogrammed and out of the Elite, like yesterday. But the only thing that stops me from saying do it yesterday is because this way I get at least one pay-per-view where I can watch Bryan Danielson versus Adam Cole. And by the way, I'm over the moon that I can say Bryan Danielson again.
Yes.
And people are going to understand who I mean.
What's up, Mike City?
Is a fucking horrible name. What's up, Mike?
Yeah, what's up, Mike? Mike is gonna, and Keith, Mike coming off of last night. I believe he performed last night for CCW on 9/11, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know, but if for anybody's tuning in for Marcus Jonston, he will be on momentarily.
Yeah.
Also, I heard the show was great on 9/11 in Marysville last night. I was working and I could not make it. But we have a couple of shows coming up, Keith. We have September 18th at that Hamburg Field House that we enjoyed being at in July.
Legendary building.
Outbreak Wrestling is presenting an event there on September 18th with WWE Hall of Fame official Earl Hebner will be there refereeing the main event, and he'll also be there for meet and greet. So that's awesome. So if you're in the Hamburg area, if you're in this area around here, and you want to meet Earl Hebner and you want to see some good wrestling from Outbreak and our boy Mark Mest, check that out. And then next Saturday on the 25th is Be Careful What You Wish For, presented by Triple WA in Quakertown, where we finally get Merrick Miami versus Always Ready Matt Cardona.
How excited are you for that? I'm so excited for that. I'm excited to bring the kids.
And Mike says he is still the CCW traditional champion. So congrats, Mr. City.
Of course, like we doubted him.
Of course, yeah. Well, I didn't doubt him. I didn't doubt him for a second.
Did our audience doubt him?
No, I don't think so.
I really don't.
I really don't. He's the man. He's the man, and I'm glad that he, represents CCW as their traditional champion, because I don't think there is, at the moment, a better representative of that title on the roster, and that's my opinion. Say what you will about Mike City's personality, but you can't deny the talent.
Yeah, I mean, you can have your qualms about personality. You cannot deny talent, however.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, in case everybody's waiting for Spitfire Marcus Jonston, he did text me moments ago. He is getting set up, and he is ready to go very soon. He'll be here very, very soon. But we're talking AEW. What a week they had. The pay-per-view All Out, pretty good. Pretty good, spectacular. Obviously, a lot of people made a lot of references to the tag team title, Lucha Brothers versus the Bucks in the cage. Loving that match. But for me personally, it was Punk and Darby Allin. I like Punk, not just because it was Punk, but because of, there was a lot of old school mentality there. There was a lot of telling a story in the ring. There was a lot of, they even started the match kind of facing each other, sitting down and you're going to get up or am I going to get up? Let's go. You know what I mean? And it just, Sting stayed in the back, and it was really great. And no wasted motion on Punk's part, no wasted motion on Darby's part, no wasted motion on either's part when they're taking care of each other. It was great. Thank you for the kind words, fellas. It means a lot. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
And this is my point, is that you come off of something like the tag title match where it's every bell and whistle, you're in a cage, you're flipping around, you're doing finishers as transition spots, you're doing every fucking thing you know how to do. And the guys that are out there, like Alan just said, they start the match, They're facing off. They're doing a stare down. They both sit down. They both look at each other. That meant more than every single fucking false finish you did in the tag match. And it's not because it's a tag match. It's because of the anticipation.
Right.
It's all about the tease. It's all about the foreplay.
And I did agree with Cornette on one spot in that match. He didn't just jerk off and say it was match of the night and everything else sucked. He said he even critiqued that match, hold for hold. And the one thing he said that I do agree upon was the 10 count where he jumps in at the last minute. Darby Allin was getting counted out. Punk's standing there and sitting there in the ring, and Darby Allin's getting counted out, and Darby Allin is motionless. And then at the last minute, jumps in the ring, but he's motionless again. Cornette hates that, and so do I. I like the struggle. I like the where he's trying to grab the apron and trying to
sell people. Right. It's not a dirty word. Sell.
All right, Marcus Jonston. Marcus Jonston is ready to go. Keith, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man. Joining us from Texas is Spitfire Marcus Jonston. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I don't know if y'all can hear me okay. It's kind of choppy on my end.
Yeah, it is.
We can
hear you, but it's choppy on our end too.
Okay. I want to make sure this wasn't me. Y'all doing good today?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're living life.
I'm doing good. But this heat, my AC can't keep up with it. I was out in Georgia yesterday, and it was beautiful. Get back to Texas, I'm wondering.
So, how you been since the last time? Tell us what have you been up to, and tell us where your career's heading. Right, last time we talked to you was almost a year ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while already, man, and I tell you what, it's been a heck of a busy year. I've been traveling more. I've traveled more this last year than I've traveled in my life. Going different states, different new cities, all new crowds. I guess last night we were in Georgia. First time ever getting up there was special to me since I was actually born in Georgia.
Nice.
That's where I found my love for professional wrestling. That was real special to get to go back to Georgia. Wrestle in front of the home plate. But yeah, it's just been busy. I mean, we're just picking up team, and it's just one thing after another. Getting to the point where I'm actually having. So, hey, I ain't gonna be able to make it this month or that month. I'm already booked somewhere else, man. I'm sorry, like it's getting pretty long. I'm actually having to. Some people for us, so I'm very blessed. It's been a very blessed year for me.
Well, I tell you though, to what you just said about, you used to, wonder when your next booking was, and now you're turning bookings down because you're already booked. That's exciting, dude. That's awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And it's, I have one company that's got me booked until November of this year, so that's amazing. RCW in Colorado, Renegade Championship Wrestling. They're doing things over there. And
you're gonna wrestle in Colorado.
Yeah. Be there all next year. Everyone can't wait to go out there and give them everything I got.
That's what you got to do. You never know who's watching.
I got first shot out there a few months ago. I had a ton of fun there. The road guy named Phoenix Kid. Phoenix Kid, he was awesome to work with. He's actually been a lot of the guys that I wrestle, but he brings fight. He'll give you everything. He built like a brick. So it was a lot of fun getting to work with him. I can't wait to wrestle him again in the future. But in Colorado, and they're doing good things, and I'll be out there all next year.
So Keith, before you came on, Keith and I were talking about
the thing we're working.
What he said in you.
I'm sorry.
Before you came on, Keith and I were talking about the state of wrestling and how it's kind of seemed to make a huge shift over the past couple of weeks. Have you felt that, or have you been paying attention to what's been going on as far as AEW and WWE are concerned? I think we lost him, Keith.
Either we lost him or the lag is that bad.
All right,
No,
I'm gonna text him and tell. I'm gonna text him. But Keith, you talk. I'm gonna text him. And
yeah, it might be a sign out, sign back in kind of thing. But
yeah.
I mean, for me, and again, we all know we have a year plus worth of documentation of me criticizing AEW, getting mad at AEW, saying what AEW needs to do to turn things around. And, I'm going to go on the record right now. I'm going to say Alan, what's that word I'm tripping over? I
don't know. I thought you were lagging like he was for a second.
No, I was
wrong.
That's the one. Yes, that's the word. And I mean, not completely. There are still kinks that have to be worked out. But right now, AEW is the hottest thing in the world. AEW is where the young talent are going, and WWE, frankly, is turning into WCW more than they ever have in the past. They are turning into a corporation that doesn't understand wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a guy that does understand wrestling in Vince McMahon, but he's ashamed of it. He wants to change it. He's always wanted to turn it into his vision.
Yeah.
And now he's got Hollywood people underneath him. And the two guys in either ear are Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis, who don't want to be wrong. And I have a primary fucking source on this. I mean, say what you want about Jim Cornette, but you cannot deny that Jim Cornette is a primary source when it comes to Vince McMahon's thinking and logic, because he sat in the dining room and booked TV with him for, close to 10 years. And Vince
Marcus
has the wrong people around him right now.
Marcus is set to try to come back, so I'm going to see if this works. And Marcus, I apologize, dude, if you're lagging like you were before. Like I was barely able to hear you, and I'm guessing on your end, whatever I was saying was probably like a couple of seconds later than what when it was hitting you. So here he is, Marcus Jonston. Well, he was there, Keith. I saw a picture of him. I got excited, and I was like, "What? Okay, what?" I got no video. He's texting me now. Let's see what he does here.
So what we can arrange.
Yeah, and this happens. Listen, we're not a professional studio, and sometimes our guests have internet issues, and sometimes we're the ones that have the internet issues. And this time, it's on his end, but I'm trying to get him back. So stay tuned. Yeah, he says. Wait.
In the meantime, if you just have questions, if you
want to talk about AEW,
you would like to kick my ass and finally go, you know what, you mouthy bastard.
Yeah, where's all the AEW?
Actually enjoyed our crap.
Where's all the AEW fans that want to get on the professor? All right.
Yeah, you can gloat. You can.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I have a good signal, but it's real choppy once I get connected. So yeah,
could be a StreamYard issue.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a StreamYard issue. I'm not gonna go that far, but
Don't bite the hand that feeds us, kind of thing.
Yeah, because we're up for renewal. We're up for renewal. We're up for renewal come I believe October 1st.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure though if the check clears, they'll be fine. That's like the first time we've ever voiced anything close to displeasure. So as long as the check clears, they're okay. We don't pay them and then say, hey, you know it's a crappy service? These guys.
All right, he's making one last attempt
Okay.
to come on, but from what I'm seeing, and Marcus, if you're watching this, what I'm seeing is that you're backstage, and that, but like, there's no screen, and then your face pops up, and then you move, so the lagging is still there. But we'll try to bring him on, Keith, and see what happens there. Marcus Jonston, can you hear us?
I feel like he cannot.
Well, there he is.
Yes, yeah, I just did a blank screen on mine.
It's coming. I see him, and he has changed locations, hoping that helps. But I got nothing.
Yeah, oh, there he is.
Yeah, he's there, but he's like not talking. I can't see him. I mean, I can see him.
I got a static picture.
Yeah.
Professional operation, kids.
And again, like if he's having difficulty as far as the video part, I think there's an option I could have him just audio. But I'm not sure about that, to be honest with you.
Never had
In fact,
it.
I think on his end, I think if he wants to try this experiment, Marcus, if you're listening to me, I want you to try this experiment, okay? And the experiment is sign back in and come on to the backstage, just audio only, no video. I think on his end, he can turn one of them off. And if he can do that, we might be able to hear him but not see him. And I'd rather have something than nothing. In the meantime, I have a few announcements regarding Around the Turnbuckle. Number one, next Saturday, that's the 18th, there will be no show. I don't know about Keith, but I am going to try to make it to Hamburg that day. Keith, you're welcome to join me, but I'm going to try to support Mean Mark, and Hamburg is not that far away from me. It's literally like 35, 40 minutes. So I would love to go support Mean Mark and the wrestlers of Outbreak, possibly meet Earl Hebner, who knows. But other than that, I'm going to try to make it to September 18th in Hamburg. Then
I'd like to try. We'll talk about that off air.
Yes. The following week, September 25th, there's also no show. Keith and I will be in Quakertown for their show, including Merrick Miami versus Matt Cardona.
And if anybody with Triple WA is watching, if you could just message me, I have another person that's interested in tickets. I remember we said there would be tickets available at the door.
Go to Dino Santa's Facebook page and scroll down, and he has the phone number that you call for tickets.
Okay, I'll do that then. Everybody else do that too if you're in the area.
Yeah.
You really have no excuse. It's a great show.
Dino Santa said there are limited tickets available. I doubt they'll be ready. There'll be still tickets left at the door, so I doubt it. So he put a Facebook post recently with the phone number to call for tickets. And I don't know the hour, so don't go calling him at like 8 or 9 o'clock. You know, regular business hours. I'm sure call him tomorrow morning at 8 or 9 or whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, when a certain human being gets up. Not all of us are like that has to get up at like 5:30 to go to work at 6.
And meantime, we do have a show, however, in between there on September the 19th. That is 1 week from today, this Sunday. We will have just our third female performer in the world of professional wrestling. That would be manager Chloe Rain.
Very excited to talk about that. I mean, we see Chloe at the Triple WA shows all the time. She's
With
a
the
sweet
Atkins
lady.
brothers.
Yeah, she's a sweet girl. Love her.
Yes, and
And
Chloe has...
I think what's so awesome about this, too, is we're talking to somebody that is at the very beginning
Yes.
of the journey.
And
She's
Chloe...
training, and she's
Chloe-
training with the
Mark
third
Mess.
man.
Right.
The third man, Mark Mess.
He is. And so, right. So she's got lots to talk about, not only what's going on in Triple WA, not only recruiting stars, but she's got a lot to talk about in her own career. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. And that's next week. I'll let her tell that story. We're going to try Marcus one last time.
Okay.
Marcus, can you hear us? You have a blank screen like I do, Keith?
I do.
Yeah. The blank
No.
screen, no video.
And
All right, there he is. And like I said, it goes blank, and then his picture comes up, and then I get nothing.
And I probably see his picture later than you do. Being on kind of the gas.
Hopefully it's not that much later.
It's a little bit. You mention it. And
You
then
see his picture now?
Nope.
You still don't see his picture?
Nope.
Okay. That means everybody at home is not seeing anything.
Yeah.
But Marcus, if you can hear us, we tried, brother. I can't have you on if we can't hear you and nobody can see you. Keith,
We'll get you on again. We'll fix it.
yeah, we'll find a way, dude. We will
Yeah.
have you on again soon.
Yeah, you gave us the time of coming back again, and you made that effort. We'll absolutely make that effort for you
And
to get
Marcus,
you back on here
And
do it
listen, to
properly.
Marcus's point, in case you didn't hear what he was saying and you couldn't hear it at all, he was basically saying that's been a hell of a year for him. It's basically been saying that he's getting booked so much so that he's had to turn down bookings, which is phenomenal. And we were going to lead into asking him, has WWE, what WWE used to be the place to go, has AEW become that? We don't have his opinion, and we will have him on another time to talk about that and whatever else he wants to talk about. But we do have our opinion, Keith, and it's an emphatic yes for me. No?
I agree. I mean, I'm seeing former NXT talents just today, guys that just got released, that are now on AEW Dark and saying, we love how it's run. We love everything else. And look, I'm going to go back to the last time JT Funk was here. And what did we talk about, guys? We talked about building your brand. And if you go to WWE, especially right now, they want to own your brand. If you don't think that Vince McMahon is vaguely aware, and again, I think I have nothing to back this up, nothing from the inside. This is just me talking my opinion. I think it is going to be so much harder now to be an independent star and go to WWE because of Adam Cole. And I'm not saying Adam Cole did anything wrong, but Adam Cole went in there. He had the Adam Cole name, which was his. He had the, whole Adam Cole baby thing. Again, his, not WWE's, something he brought to the table. So that when he walked out on AEW pay-per-view last week, he was able to be Adam Cole. He was able to use his catchphrase. He was able to look exactly like he looked the last time he was on WWE TV.
Sure
Those
thing.
are three massive elements of his brand that he was allowed to accentuate over the last 5 years on NXT television, that he walked away with 100% his to go on to worldwide pay-per-view, where again, Tony Khan is saying, we got 200,000 buys for that. 200,000 people saw that. If you think that is not going to get up to Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon is not going to hear about that, and he is not going to blow a gasket, and he is not going to, when they change NXT into, WCW and garbage, and they will, If you don't think that anybody who goes through the door now in WWE is not going to ever be allowed to have their name, their gimmick that they had prior, like if you thought everybody went through a random name generator before, holy crap, are they going through a random name generator now? Everything is going to be erased, and it is going to be everything is WWE. And the part about that's going to, WWE thinks that's smart business. I don't think it is, because now the young talent, looking at a guy like Adam Cole, looking at a guy like, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, looking at everybody else, you've got to think twice. If you have this brand on the independents that you've built up, I don't want to mention anybody we've talked to, because I don't want to back anybody into a corner. But if you think about the guys that we've talked to and the brands that they've built up, you've got to think about this. You've got to think about this long and hard. WWE used to be the destination because, like, as Bryan Danielson said for a long time, I know I can't do art there, but I can make money. And now I need to make the money. And there were more than a few guys that I'm sure made that. We appreciate it, Marcus. Like I say, we'll have you back, buddy.
So yeah, Marcus. I mentioned to Marcus when we lost them the second time. I said, well, you can always tune in on YouTube at this moment and comment if you wish, which would work. But I mean, in the meantime, I want to, if Marcus is obviously watching right now, yes, you did try, and technical difficulties are something you can't control. So we do not hold it against you. And man, we will have you on again, obviously, sooner than later. And we wish you nothing but the best, man. We love the fact that things are happening for you. We love the fact that, you're getting booked a lot more, and that's great. And as far as your future, man, you just keep working on your craft, man. I could see, obviously, these bookers are seeing something in you. So eventually the right booker is going to see something in you, and maybe you'll end up at the finish line, which I don't want to call it that, but where everybody should be heading nowadays, and that'd be AEW, because obviously things have happened. The WWE has really, I don't know what's the future holds for WWE, and I don't know if WWE should be the destination for professional wrestlers who want to get paid to do this for a living.
I don't want to go as far as you just did. More companies that are well funded, that are gonna be around. That's obviously a good thing. Nobody should ever root for a well funded company to go out of business.
No, I don't want them to. Believe me, WWE is family to me, Keith. WWE, I've been watching it, but it's hard to stay loyal to a company that is self-destructing before my eyes.
I agree. I bailed.
And it sucks to watch.
I bailed, and I mean, my personal opinion would be for guys to not go there, but at the same token, I'm not going to shit on anybody that says, look, that was the dream, or look, that's where I can go make some money for a while.
I love Charlotte. I love Charlotte. I love Roman the heel. I love the certain pieces that they have, but what they're doing with everybody is ridiculous, especially stars who aren't, made guys, and they're doing these weird things just for fun, or just for kicks, or I don't know what. I'm at the point now where it's like, you know what, let's pull Drew McIntyre out and let's throw him in AEW. Because what I look at with AEW at this point is I look at a company that has made mistakes, but they made mistakes based on who they could get at the time. And look, I'm also on the record as saying from the beginning, right, we were going to have to tolerate probably some bad shit at AEW and some bullshit, because they started their first show on national television. They didn't have the ability to go down to the local bar or something, right,
and have terrible shows and learn from those terrible shows. Everything was hyper accelerated, so all their mistakes were going to be.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly, Marcus. And that is, WWE is what we grew up on. At the same time, it's no longer what we grew up on. but we're running out of reasons to tune in. Right. Honestly, the only reasons why I tune in the only reason I tune into Raw is Charlotte. All right? Because that's the only place I could see Charlotte wrestle. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of everybody else. Then, in that division anyway. Then you go over to SmackDown and Becky's back. So I'm excited to see what happens there. But everything, and other than Roman, maybe, I'm not invested in anybody. I'm not invested in Rated RK Bro, although I love Riddle as a talent. And of course, Randy Orton's one of the best of all time. But that whole thing, I could give two shits about Rated RK Bro. I could give two shits about Alexa Bliss. I could give two shits about Alexa Bliss being the Fiend character when she's doesn't need to be. Like, I loved her before that. I mean,
it wouldn't broke. Why'd you pick that?
It was fun to watch her do that when Bray Wyatt was still around, because it was like she was under some kind of trance, and I didn't know where they were going to go with that or whatever. But now she doesn't need it. Like, she could go in the ring and the lights could go off and on, and then she's staring at Charlotte. Do you really think she's going to beat Charlotte Flair?
Let me ask a question. And I think this is the signature question. I'm not just asking you. I know you're going to obviously be first to comment because you're right here and you have that right. But I'm throwing it out to the audience too. Guys, do you believe that, let's take any legend. Let's take Shawn Michaels. Let's take Hulk Hogan. Let's take The Rock. Let's take Steve Austin. Let's take the man himself over here. If they debuted fresh in WWE right now, even if they had the same gimmick that got them over, would you trust WWE to be able, right now, as it's composed with its writing and everything else, do you think that they would get them over, or get them over to the same level that they got over coming in when they came in? Do you believe that would happen?
No.
And that's the problem right there. That there's not a hesitation. There's not a thought. There's not an instinctive, well, let me take 30 seconds. It's the fact that I asked the question and viscerally the answer that comes back is no. That should terrify Vince McMahon.
And well, I think he's the reason why. Because whether it's a mental thing, whether it's a mind thing, he was in a different mindset, more hungry a businessman 20 years ago than he is now.
He was getting beat. He hasn't been beaten in 20 years.
Right.
And when he tried something different this last time, putting Paul Heyman in charge of Raw, and yes, he put Eric Bischoff in charge of SmackDown, but I think I don't like Eric Bischoff. I have a lot of bad things to say about Eric Bischoff, but I'm not trying to piss on Eric Bischoff.
Well, don't get off that tangent.
That's a different show. I think Bischoff is more of a TV guy than a creative guy. If I was someone who had a wrestling company and I didn't understand how to talk to TV executives, I would be very interested in bringing Bischoff into my company. Sure. I wouldn't let him near the writing, but I would want him as somebody to be my liaison to the television network. You talk to the network, you translate what I believe and what I think to the network. Make me look good to them. If I wanted a creative mind, I would get Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman still has the chops, in my opinion. And I think he was showing he still had the chops. The problem was Vince McMahon wants what he understands, and he wants it right now.
Right.
And I think Paul Heyman wasn't able to translate his ideas to Vince.
All right, Marcus Jonston has a comment to what you're saying right at this moment. I believe they would try, but have no idea to do so. They've already tried remaking characters and retelling stories with today's stars, but can't do it because they're not the same people.
Exactly, because, I mean, Marcus, could you be The Undertaker? Could you be,
right?
A rehash of a teacher gimmick, or what New Day started as a rehash of Men on a Mission? Could you do it? I would say no, and you wouldn't try.
Plus, the stars like Undertaker, The Rock, Triple H, and Austin wouldn't be able to take the risks that they took.
And that's true. Yeah, that was a very experimental time. And one of the things, too, is you need an advocate. That's the thing that really isn't brought up, is that guys like Mick Foley were brought in, and Vince told Jim Ross. Jim Ross has written about it in his books. Vince only brought Mick Foley in because he thought Mick Foley would fail, and it would teach Jim Ross a lesson. But Jim Ross knew what Mick Foley had. Jim Cornette knew what Mick Foley had. The other brass there that knew Mick knew what he had. They advocated for him, and they were able to talk to Vince and push Mick into the opportunities that allowed Vince to see, oh, wow, pal, he's got something. He's really creative. He's not just the guy that does the 6 stupid bumps and has the bad body. You know, he's got some creativity. I like this guy. And that's kind of how you have to pitch things to Vince, from what I'm told. And right now, the inner circle is Bruce Pritchard and John Laurinaitis.
Right.
People power. And they don't want to get fired. And they have no real ideas.
So they do whatever Vince.
They don't want to take a risk.
They do whatever Vince. They think Vince will like.
Right, exactly. Because they don't want to take a risk. They don't want to get kicked out of the inner circle again. Bruce got kicked out of the inner circle. He got fired
several times.
So Bruce is just going to sit there and he's going to feed Vince whatever the fuck he wants.
So here's the $1 million question, and I think Cornette mentions it a lot in his podcasts about AEW needs a solid, good booker, just one guy. Who do you think could be that guy?
If you could get him, I would get Paul Heyman. I think, and yes, I'm an ECW mark. I've never made a fucking point about that. I think Paul Heyman still has the ability
to tell stories,
to tell stories and understand the zeitgeist of the moment. Because I think that's what you need right now.
Yeah.
I do like, to a degree, that AEW is willing to let talent experiment and figure things out. I think that's a good idea.
Right.
But what you need is that person, and that's what Paul was frankly bad at a lot of the time in ECW. You need that person that has that authority to, when the talent goes, I want to do something really fucking stupid, that authority figure to go,
no.
Okay, no, we're not doing that. I'm not letting you do that. It would be bad for your health. It would be bad for a lot of reasons. Why don't we do this instead? Why don't we take that impulse and put it to something positive that will happen? You know, I mean, Tony Khan is getting better. Like I say, really, my objections to All Out were frankly just objections to the stuff that I know he's not booking. The stuff that I know the Elite is booking, because they book their own shit. And that's the stuff that, to me, didn't work. There is enough talent on that roster. I am just waiting for, Jungle Boy, for instance. I am waiting for Jungle Boy's Spirit of 76 moment. Do you know what a Spirit of 76 comeback is, Alan?
No.
I think you do. A Spirit of 76 comeback is Jungle Boy has the shit beat out of him. He's bloody. He's carried to the back. And he comes running out with a bandage around his head. He's still bleeding. And he beats the shit out of whatever heel he's working with. And, I do want to bring, I'm glad we get a chance to bring this up, because this does bring me to something I've been talking to people about in the last week. It's very controversial, obviously. The MJF, Brian Pillman promo from Wednesday. Did you see that?
I did.
What were your thoughts on it?
Well, I think there's a point there. There's one thing being the ultimate heel in that company, and there's another thing where he kind of goes a little too far in that promo. I thought he went a lot too far in that promo, mentioning, talking about it. Huh?
Bethany?
Yeah.
I get that, but where I come from is she did Dark Side of the Ring last year.
Mm-hmm.
She made herself a public figure.
Yeah.
She made her struggles public. She is someone who was married to someone in the business. Her son is now in the business. She understands that you have to push the envelope. I understand why people are upset. I will counter that with, that's why you're going to tune in next week. And that's why you want MJF to get the fucking shit kicked out of him.
By
Because
Brian Pillman Jr.?
Exactly. This is going to make Brian Pillman Jr. a bigger star. Because what MJF is so good at that so many heels don't do anymore is MJF does not want you to like him. MJF is completely committed to, fuck you, if you like me even a little bit, let me go do something disgusting so that you won't. And how many times are we sitting there as fans and going, I don't believe this. I don't believe this issue. I want real heat. I want real issue. I want something I can sink my teeth into.
And he's a master at
that. And then we get something like this, and we all of a sudden become shrinking violets, and we go, oh no, that was too far.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's kind of the point. That's kind of the point. And like I say, it's one thing if she had not gone out there and she had not made herself a public figure.
Right.
And brought up all the things that she had done that were not good.
But what about Aunt Linda and the family in the front row? I mean, I know that they know
that tells me that they're down with it. That tells me that the family is committed to making Brian go as far as he can go in his career.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched that and I'm excited for the conclusion of that personal issue. And that's also what I talk about. MJF lost to Jericho on Sunday, and that ends that feud.
Right.
After Wednesday, was anybody talking about that?
No.
Did anybody feel like MJF was in any way diminished by losing to Jericho? No, because he came out, he talked shit, he created a new issue, he created controversy with that new issue, and now that's all you want to talk about. Good or bad, that's all you want to talk about is that new issue.
And I want to know, what I want to know is, was that what we talked earlier about wrestlers having a little bit of, you know, I don't want to say creative control because that's not the right words, but a little bit of word in that locker room to say, hey, maybe we should do this. Do you think all that was MJF's idea? Or do you think that it was booking and who the hell made that decision?
I think that MJF and Brian Pillman probably came up with an idea.
Mm-hmm.
They pitched it to Tony Khan. Tony Khan said, I'll do it. What can we do that won't piss off TNT? And by the way, kudos to TNT, because TNT is really letting them go for shit.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean, the old TNT in the WCW days, you and I certainly remember the WCW days.
Right.
You wouldn't have gotten within 10 feet of what they did. Right. That would have been shot down by standards and practices. I mean, just the start of that promo would have been shot down by standards and practices, let alone where it ultimately ended up.
Right.
So I give TNT credit for wanting to push things a little bit.
Maybe move a little with the times a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's probably collaborative because a good booker, I think people don't understand what a booker is. Mm-hmm. People think that a booker is someone that comes up with where everything is supposed to go. A booker doesn't do that. A booker says, you and you're going to fight. And what it should be at that point is it should be a general outline of where it wants to go. Mm-hmm. And then maybe you have one or two ideas you want the talent to get across.
Right.
You just say to the talent, now go, make it work.
Right.
It's not scripted. It's not, here's every step of the dance.
Right.
That's where the problem comes in. Because how many matches have we watched in WWE where it's every step of the dance, and then somebody misses a step, and everything stops?
Right, because you don't know what
No
you forgot where
idea.
you were. Right.
Right. They have no idea how to get to the next step because
Yep.
nobody either knows how to improv or is allowed to improv.
And can
That's
I say
why you
can I
don't
say
do every
something?
step.
Can I say something publicly? I hate the fact that Becky Lynch is a heel. Why did they do that? She is one of, if not the top star in the company at the moment.
She's the top star. She's the man. It's like turning Steve Austin heel. I don't get
Right.
it.
It's stupid. The whole thing is dumb. Why? Because you still believe in Bianca Belair, the face. Because you can have Bianca. I would have loved it if Bianca Belair came out and said how much respect she had for Becky Lynch until she pulled the shit she pulled in SummerSlam, where she was not prepared to wrestle her, where she was backed into a corner, and her respect for Becky Lynch just said, "Okay, let it happen."
Yeah, but then
got caught up in the
Bianca's
moment,
heel.
and then she plays it off like she feels screwed, and you people all cheered and went berserk when Becky Lynch came out. You could give two shits when I came out. I'm the champion. I come out and I'm ready to defend against Sasha Banks. And you hear that music, and that pop was 10 times more than mine. So obviously, you love that Becky's back. Oh, we all love that Becky's back. You know what? Becky Lynch deserves her ass kicked, and I'm going to be the one to do it. Then her music hits. She comes out and says, "Oh, really? I got this. You want it? Let's go."
And that's a valid way to do it. If they were really determined for Becky to be a heel, that's fine. But you got to build to that, because Becky is so beloved. You can't do it in one moment, and that was the problem with the Austin turn too. You're trying to do it all in one moment. You're trying to do the Crash TV shit, and for somebody that beloved, it doesn't work that way.
You cut a promo better than half the people I wrestled out. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
Well, that is a little sad. They're professionally in the business.
Hey,
they're just two jackasses.
Hey, listen. You call yourself a jackass, all right? I have always professed that I have the gift of gab when it comes to certain things. I could be passionate about things, or I could pretend I'm passionate about things. You ever see me on Home Team Sports on Tuesdays? This past Tuesday, I did a Ric Flair style rant about how excited I was that the NFL season began today. I went berserk.
I'm not saying you don't have talent. Woo! I'm saying, though, from my perspective,
you called me a no-talented jackass.
I did not say you were no-talented. I said we were a couple of jackasses, because the way I look at it is,
thank you, Marcus.
We are extremely lucky that folks in the business want to talk to us.
Or friends with us now.
Very honored to go to the last Triple WA show, talk to Theo Ivory, and Theo asked me my opinion on his match. I was incredibly honored by that Theo, someone in the business, appreciates my opinion enough to ask me that question.
Awesome.
I look at it in a lot of ways like I'm whistling when I go to these shows and guys let me back in the locker room and whatnot. I'm not.
That's awesome.
About it here that somehow entitles me to say I'm in the business or anything like that. I still feel like there's still a divide between me and the guys, and I don't want to profess that I don't understand that, know.
Listen, we're gonna wrap this up. I thought it was a great conversation. I'm sorry that things didn't work out for Spitfire, but we will have Marcus Jonston back on. And Marcus, we wish you the very best in what's happening with your career right now, and whatever as far as you want to go get it, brother. Second, I have a special birthday shout out to Vicious Vicky Andrea. You remember her? Androli. You remember her, Keith?
I do. Money.
Happy birthday, Vicious Vicky. You are the queen. You are the champ, and you continue to wow people. And I saw with our boys over at Tornado Tag, and I hope they're watching this. Our boys over at Tornado Tag sent her, Anthony Blackwell sent her a cameo from Lita. And if you don't remember, when we had Vicky on, her we asked that question. What were your influences, growing up and getting you into wrestling? And the first words out of her mouth were Lita. She was huge mark for Lita. So kudos to Anthony and the guys from Top Rope, Tornado Tag Podcast for sending Vicky a personal cameo shout out from Lita herself. And if you haven't seen it, Keith, go on Vicky's Facebook. It's right there. It's awesome. I watched it. I got goosebumps because Lita not only, personally told Vicky happy birthday, which is what you pay for, but she went beyond that and said that she actually looked and checked out who she was talking about, and she thinks she's got something there. And that she said that,
right.
Oh, man, what a stamp of approval from Hall of Famer Lita. That's awesome that Vicky got that. So, Vicky, happy birthday. I'm glad you got that shout out from Lita, and kudos to the boys for making that happen. Thank you, guys. We will talk again. Thank you, Marcus Jonston. Keith, any part gifts?
I thank everybody as always for tuning in and spending an hour with us and, listening to our blather. I certainly thank all the wrestlers, past, present, future, that come on here. What a wild ride. It always is.
It is.
And it's so cool to be able to kind of live my best life with wrestling right now, and I'm able to give that experience back to so many people that I love and care about, so many the kids and everybody else, and get them into this. You guys are amazing that are part of that, and I cannot thank you enough for it.
I echo everything you just said. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Spitfire Marcus Jonston, for hanging out with us, even if it was in the comment section. Kudos to Mike City for his title defense last night. We will see you guys next Sunday night at 6 p.m. with the one and only Chloe Rain. And we're out of here.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you gonna do, brother? Oh, yeah! Woo! What?